Before we do get into the video, if you're looking to get some very easy coins, then there is no better place than SkyCoach. You can get as many coins as you want. It's a fast and safe delivery, and of course, we cannot forget that it's cheap. You will be able to get a lot more for your money using SkyCoach to buy FIFA coins than if you was to go and buy FIFA points. You simply highlight how many coins you want, you choose your platform, and you place your order. And those coins will be added to your account within 1 hour. So if you do really want to get ahead of most people in Ultimate Team, there is a link in the description down below, and if you use Fnatic at checkout, you'll also get 10% off your purchase. If you've been an avid FIFA player over the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, chances are when you have been playing a present day FIFA, whenever you get frustrated within the game, you would end up thinking or even saying sometimes that previous FIFAs years ago ended up being better than the ones being released today. And it certainly feels that way. I remember playing back in FIFA 2005 and thoroughly enjoying every single game. That was my very first FIFA. Fast forward to FIFA 12, that was when I really got addicted to Ultimate Team. It wasn't the first year in which Ultimate Team was released, it was actually 2009. And I was playing before this, but FIFA 12 was when I really got addicted. I learned how to trade, build up my coin balance, create some amazing teams, and I had coins left over that I would sell to my friends. And I was pretty decent at FIFA. And whenever I do talk about the peak of Ultimate Team, I normally refer to those days. I often think back to those moments and compare it to FIFA 23, and in my mind, all of these FIFAs were so much better than what we have today. But really, that's not true. I've seen other people within the community say that previous FIFAs are much better than what we have today. We're talking about 10, 15 years ago. I've also been speaking to other content creators where I would sit on a call with them and they would also say the exact same thing. And looking outside of just content creators and other notable characters within the community, just talking every day to my friends, they say the exact same thing. They all say that they have a different FIFA in mind, which is so much better than what they're able to play today. But really, this is just nostalgia. People are remembering all the good things and not the bad things. For example, my one FIFA 2005, that was my very first FIFA, and even though it was pretty decent for the time, it had nothing compared to what we have to today's standards. There was no Ultimate Team because that didn't come out until FIFA 2009, and really all you could do was go through career mode, go through play now, and go through tournaments. Not just that, but only 5 years before, in FIFA 2000, this was when EA first started to implement motion capture. They used Sol Campbell. And fast forward to FIFA 2005, they were still trying to implement motion capture into their games, and they didn't have that many more recordings. It took them 5 years of motion capture just to implement first touch gameplay, which would allow players to perform realistic tricks and passes. That didn't happen until 5 years after motion capture started. The progression was extremely slow. Fast forwarding another 7 years, go into my favorite Ultimate Team, or what I say is my favorite Ultimate Team of FIFA 12. There was also massive problems here. There was literally no depth to the game. For you to attack and for you to defend, you would literally do the exact same thing over and over again. And because everyone knew this, because this was also the time in which FIFA was documented heavily on YouTube, well, at least the start of it, where YouTubers started to be prevalent within the community, it meant that everyone was just either doing through balls whilst they're on the attack. So every single time they'll go from the defense, hold down the through ball, or even hold down the lob through ball, just whip it over everyone, and somehow your attacker would always run onto it. This would have put you into a perfect position, especially if you had pace in your team, which everyone did. There was no reason for you to select a slow player, and chances are you would have two of them as your strikers. Most people went for the 4-1-2-1-2 formation, in which you would have a one-on-one chance, but why would you do that? Of course, you're going to cut it back to the player running alongside you for an easy, sweaty goal. Defended, on the other hand, was just you holding down A or X depending what platform you were on. This will allow the defender to jockey, but if they got too close, they would just auto defend for you. You can just change players, making sure that you're selecting the closest player to the ball, have your player to auto defend, and they will do everything for you. Things started to get a bit trickier because people realized that everyone was doing this, but as long as you didn't select the defenders, kept the defenders in a position, and then had your midfield midfielders, hence why everyone was going for the 4-1-2-1-2. So you had 4 midfielders. As long as you switch between all of those to defend for you, you were solid. Unless, of course, someone did an overtop through ball, because that itself was overpowered. But that meant every single game that you came up to, you couldn't pass through your opponent's defense because they were just auto defending whilst switching between different midfielders. And the only way that you could get through was just by doing overtop through balls and then scoring goals with cutbacks. So every single team that you came up against were pretty much exactly the same, and every player would have the exact same playstyle. And this was during a time where there was next to no other game modes. You would just go through your cups, whether that be online or single player. This more or less was the playstyle from FIFA 12 all the way to around FIFA 15, maybe even FIFA 16. But this was also the time in which EA had many other problems with the game. With FIFA 14, this also crossed over to next-gen consoles. This was when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 was released. And probably around 1 in 4 games that you would play, even if you was to win the game, you would have a freezing problem right at the end, which actually counted as you getting a loss. The game never finished. You'd just be stuck staring at the pitch, and you can close down your console, open it back up again, and it counts as a disconnect. The game never counted. And that's on top of the gameplay that we just mentioned, because it didn't really change. With FIFA 15, there was a massive issue with coin selling sites, and it felt like they took a step back more than a step forward. They removed trade offers, which would allow you to swap players in between separate accounts. A lot of people did this legitimately, whereas others were actually selling players. But also within FIFA 15, because of the bugs and glitches which were available within Ultimate Team, there was a lot of coin selling sites which were getting coins illegitimately. And because they were all competing against each other, they would eventually sell millions of coins for less than 100 quid. This caused a huge amount of inflation within the community, which also led to normal rare gold players, and yes, you heard that correct, normal rare gold players such as Messi and Ronaldo being worth 4, 5, 6 million coins. That's when EA had to implement price ranges and they went completely extinct. Chances are, if you were trying to build a team, at least one of those players, especially if you had a decent amount of coins, potentially you even bought some, you would not be able to buy any of the players. They were not available. And it also got people thinking, well, if players such as Messi and Ronaldo, their normal gold cards were worth 5, 6, 7 million coins, what happened to the informs? What happened to the legends which were available on Xbox? Well, they didn't exist. They capped out at 15 million and you just could not buy into them. Once EA implemented price ranges, you had to snipe them in order to actually buy them. And these were just fundamentally game-breaking problems. Once you add gameplay on top at this point, there was kickoff glitches. And I'm not just talking about where there seems to be a kickoff boost, what we have within FIFA 23. No, I'm talking about you literally passing it across straight from kickoff and then doing an overtop through ball. And chances are your player, your attacker, will be able to run onto it, get the ball and have an easy one-on-one. So that meant that every game that you went into, you would be an idiot not to do the kickoff glitch, and chances are, if you didn't have kickoff that half, that your opponent would do the exact same thing anyway. So every game would end up starting the exact same way, and if it didn't work because they mistimed it, maybe it was slightly offside, maybe they did it too early, it would still be a game where they would just auto defend at the back and then do overtop through balls. I think more than anything, it's just nostalgia kicking in. People remember all the good times of the previous FIFAs, but forget all the bad. They forget how completely game-breaking everything was. They forget how EA servers were down probably 5, maybe 6 times every single week. They forget the kickoff glitches. They forget the overpowered players where everyone would just have Javinho, Dumbia, and Ibarbo within their team. Maybe they'll link up Ibarbo and Burial, or even bring in Marco Reus at some point. Some players would figure out how they can use every single one of them within their starting 11 as well as on their bench. And even though you were playing a different opponent every single game that you went into, it really didn't matter because they all had the exact same playstyle. There was no depth to the game. And even though FIFA 23 is far from perfect, and EA will never put together a perfect FIFA, having gameplay that suits everyone, well, it's just impossible. especially when perfect gameplay is somewhat subjective, as it is different for every single player. I honestly believe that most people would end up ripping their hair out and literally going on a complete rampage if they were to have gameplay from the likes of FIFA 09 all the way up to, say, FIFA 14, have that gameplay but within the weekend league. And I guess this is also another reason of why people always have such fond memories of those being the days, because there was no stress, there was no competitive nature to the game. Of course, you would like to win your games, but if you got kicked out of a 4-game tournament, it really didn't matter. It's not like you're playing 20-40 games over a weekend going through FUT champions. But if you did, and everyone did the exact same thing with those playstyles, and you had the problems on top with EA servers and also the game just freezing, trust me, you would not have the fond memories that you do. Now, I absolutely loved FIFA 12, and I have also gone back to it since and played for a few more games. It was certainly a good game for the time, but it has come a long way since then. And even though it's not perfect, it's still better. But anyway guys, let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going. So see ya.